At this point, we'll be moving on to explore the facts, or the lack thereof, behind the corruption allegation leveled against the leadership of Nigeria's main opposition party, the People's Democratic Party, by one of its members. And joining us now to have a discussion about that, we have Kola Ologbondiyan, National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, and Kassim Afegbua, a former member of the party's presidential campaign council. Well, gentlemen, welcome to the program. But I understand that, Kola, you are the person with us at the moment, and Kassim Afegbua will be joining us in a few minutes. Quickly, Kola Ologbondiyan, you are welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ruben Abati, and good morning to Don and Rufai.
Good morning.
Well, let's go straight to the allegation by Kassim Afegbua. He says that the PDP, the People's Democratic Party, does not have, to use his words, a workable bank account. And that since 2017, that the party has not been able to account for about 10 billion naira. Now, where is the money? Is the money missing? What's your response to Kassim Afegbua?
For us in the people, thank you very much, Dr. Ruben Abati. Before I go into the issues raised by Kassim Afegbua, let me make some words of comfort to Nigerians, because for us in the People's Democratic Party, this is truly a very depressing moment for us in the party. However, our heart goes to families who have lost members or whose members are in captivity of the Boko Haram and other bandits. So having said that, I want to make it clear to Nigerians that the People's Democratic Party, within the period claimed by Kassim Afegbua as having raised 10 billion, did not raise such an amount. What we raised from the sales of form for the 2019 election was 4.6 billion naira. And a budget to that effect was presented in the National Working Committee and also presented to all the various organs of the party, and also taken to the final authority on expenditure, which is the National Executive Committee, for approval, and this was given to the NWC. So we don't know where Kassim is coming from on the allegation of 10 billion naira. We didn't raise any form of 10 billion naira. What we raised is 4.6 billion. So we are waiting as a party for the facts that he has. We are waiting as a party for the documents that he will present to back up his allegation.
Right. Was there any attempt by Kassim Afegbua to sort of employ your internal mechanisms for any kind of dispute resolution? Did he approach the leadership of the PDP before filing this petition before the AFCC and ICPC?
To the best of my knowledge, there was nothing of sort from Mr. Afegbua. Mr. Afegbua did not approach the party, and in total disobedience of our constitution, he has attempted to put the party into a disrepute. But let me quickly say this, that for us in the People's Democratic Party, we believe, particularly at the National Secretariat, that the membership of Kassim Afegbua is suspected. We do not think that he's truly a member of our party.
Why is that the case? Is it because he raised this allegation? Are members not supposed to be able to, raise allegations when they see things are not done? I don't want to use the word properly because it's subject now, but they're not. It doesn't follow due process, the Nigerian cliche. So can they speak out? Isn't it a democracy? So is that why he's suspended?
Thank you very much. No, thank you very much, Rufai. If you follow the trajectory of Kassim Afegbua in politics, you will recall that he was a one-time commissioner in the administration of the former chairman of All Progressives Congress, and I speak to Comrade Adams Oshiomhole. Thereafter, he claimed to have left the APC, and he said he joined the People's Democratic Party, where he was appointed because he worked with a particular presidential aspirant. And when, after the convention in Port Harcourt, all the aspirants dissolved their campaign structures. And as a result of that, he found himself in the campaign structure of the candidate that emerged, the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. And thereafter, after the election, we had an election in his home state, which is Edo State. He left the PDP and went to work with Adams Oshiomhole and Ise Iyamu in APC. And he took an open position. And on account of that, he was suspended from his ward in Edo State. And well, that was the last we heard of him until this allegation started. So for us in the People's Democratic Party, we don't even know if he's a member of our party or he's a member of APC.
Well, two things, Kola Ologbondiyan. Afegbua says he's approaching the EFCC and the ICPC, and the PDP is threatening court action against him. You were quoted as having said so yesterday. So where are we with that? What will you be charging him for, if you choose to go to court? But he's raising more fundamental issues beyond the 10 billion naira that he says is missing. He's talking about reform within the party. He's criticizing the leadership of the party. He says he doesn't think that the present leadership of the party can win the presidential election in 2023, and that the leadership of the party must be changed. So he wants reform within the party because he says the party is not properly organized. What's your response to these two issues?
Well, for us in the People's Democratic Party, Kassim Afegbua as an individual, because so far so good, we see his approach as coming from an individual whom we are not even sure is a member of our party. The same leadership that he said is not viral, that he said is not performing, followed him to his home state in Edo State, picked a candidate in Edo State, went into election, and he stood on the other side, and his own side was crushed in the election. Assuming Ise Iyamu won that election, will Kassim have claimed to have come back to the People's Democratic Party, talk less of assessing the leadership? So what is the objective of a political party? Is it not to win election? So the last election that we had in his home state, his own party was defeated. But I don't want to dwell much on who Kassim is and what he represents. What the People's Democratic Party knows is that we have a structured way of conducting our affairs. The National Convention of the People's Democratic Party we hold in December. If Kassim feels very strongly against the current leadership, he can go and pick form to contest any office. If he's a member of our party, he has that liberty. And he also has the liberty of campaigning against even the entire leadership, if he chooses to. But, Dr. Abati, even you as a person, in clear conscience, do you perceive Kassim as a member of People's Democratic Party? You understand the rules. So if you feel strongly about this leadership, which if you are a member of the party, you have a right to, then why don't you wait till the convention and go and vote out whoever you don't want, or vote out the entire leadership if that is your plot, or if that's what you wish? So why are you now moving to disparage the party, to bring the party to disrepute, to make sure that you crash even the existence of the party? Because that's what his actions amount to. And this is the same party from which you have benefited. This is the same leadership from which you have benefited. Just because you want something at a particular time and you could not achieve it, you must bring down the house.
I do beg your pardon,
for us in the People's
Mr.
Democratic
Ologbondiyan, we have to take a short break and we'll be back with more. Please stay with us. Welcome back to the Morning Show here on Arise News. Joining us now is Kassim Afegbua, a former member of the PDP's Presidential Campaign Council. Good morning, Mr. Afegbua. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity of this platform.
So I'm sure you've heard the comments made so far by Mr. Kola Ologbondiyan. So my question to you is one of trite law. He who asserts must prove. What evidence do you have to back up the claims that you are making in your petition to the EFCC and ICPC that the amount of 10 billion naira was generated through the sale of forms by the People's Democratic Party?
Well, thank you very much. I'm not going to rely on what one Kola Ologbondiyan is saying. As a party member, I have the right to interrogate the finances of my party with respect to accruals and the management of same if they do not fall within the ambit of best financial practices. I have handed over the job of investigation to the EFCC and ICPC, institutions that are vested with the responsibility of looking into bookkeepings of public institutions and, by extension, political parties. I've also presented my petition to the Independent National Electoral Commission, the electoral body that is also vested with the powers to scrutinize parties' finances. By the time they start their investigation, I will be volunteering information with respect to documents, statements, account numbers that were being used to funnel the resources of the party, the monies that accrue to the party, and for which I will be requiring information or clarity from the leadership of the party. It is not enough for Kola Ologbondiyan to agree. They won't agree. They will rather call me names. They will tell you I'm not a member of the party. I'm inconsequential. But I will not bow to blackmail. I will not bow to blackmail, intimidation, harassment, threats, or whatever in my resolve to finding or pursuing this case to a logical conclusion.
Quickly, Kola says what you're doing is sour grapes, that they've suspended you a couple of months ago because you supported another candidate. That was anti-party activities. So all of this is sour grapes, is inconsequential. And he also said that it is 4.5 billion they received, or 4.6 billion, I should say, they received from the proceeds of sale of forms to aspirants, not your 10 billion. So where did you get your 10 billion from? I mean, Kassim, you have to give us the facts. You can't just come and say EFCC and everybody's talking about it, they're investigating. Lay your facts on the table.
Please. But for the fact that Kola Ologbondiyan is intellectually hollow, he will know that my suspension from the party was for 1 month, which expired September 2nd, 2020, before the conduct of the Edo gubernatorial election. As at last week, they have been calling my ward chairman, my executives, and all that to say that I should be suspended. So if he knows I was already on suspension, why would he be asking for another suspension? Secondly, on the issue of 10 billion, I stand by my position, and the EFCC and ICPC will ascertain these facts. But it is cheering news for me that they have come out to say 4.6 billion was raised. That is good news, because before now they will tell you there's no resources, no money. So even the 4.6 billion, we're going to look whether they operated the accounts or the resources based on existing financial standards and practices, or whether they indulge in money laundering. The law is very clear on money laundering. Any money that is above the threshold of 10 million naira, it must be run through an account. And the party account has been under garnishee. They didn't operate these accruals from the party account. They use Retrobox Nigeria Limited in a GT Bank account. I have the number here. They use one Abdullah Umaru. I have the account number UBA. They use Morufu Nigeria Limited. and all of that, those are not the account of the party. So we want to see accruals getting into the account, and now that they say it's 4.6 billion, it will be the responsibility of EFCC and ICPC to establish those ones. That is their responsibility.
Well, Kassim Afegbua, I was a bit disturbed when you referred to Kola Ologbondiyan as one Kola Ologbondiyan. It can't just be one Kola Ologbondiyan. He's the spokesperson of the People's Democratic Party. And if you don't know the spokesperson of your own party, that would be most strange indeed. But Kola Ologbondiyan, Kassim Afegbua is here now. Oh, you want to respond to that, Kassim? Well, Kola Ologbondiyan, Kassim Afegbua is here now. And I asked you earlier on that you were quoted as saying that you will sue him, that court action will be taken against him. What will you be suing him for? For writing a petition against the party?
No, not for writing a petition. Every member of the National Working Committee has a right to his integrity. So if you go and libel somebody, you and I, Dr. Abati, we are professionals. We know the implication of libel. So if you libel me, I have a responsibility to go to court and seek redress. So I want to leave that as it is. However, it is important to tell Nigerians on this platform that all the accounts listed this morning by Kassim Afegbua are ghostly companies that the party doesn't know about their existence, that the party has no business whatsoever with, and that every action of the National Working Committee went through due process. And as a matter of fact, got the approval of the highest organ of the party, which is the National Executive Committee. Afegbua is merely fishing in an ocean of rumors, and we aren't going to be bothered by what he's saying. He has taken his case to the EFCC. Ordinarily, on a platform like this, he was asked to bring the facts of his case. He cannot afford it. He kept saying that, oh, he's in the FCC, he's in the ICPC. For us in the People's Democratic Party, we aren't going to engage him, honestly. He has gone to EFCC. Let us meet at the EFCC. Whether all the approval, whether all the expenditure made by this leadership of the party had the approval of NEC, had the approval of Governors Forum, had the approval of the National Working Committee, then we will know that. And the world will also know that. But for us in the PDP, we aren't going to engage with a blackmailer. We will not do that. We will not do that.
Wow. Well, may I ask you this question, Mr. Ologbondiyan? In spite of the clear upset that this petition from Mr. Afegbua has caused the PDP, is there room here to consider the internal mechanisms that I referred to earlier and make some kind of reform? Because you have said in your statement that PDP followed all the financial regulations. You have said just now all the relevant organs were engaged, were involved. But does the information not get through to the rank and file? Is that what is causing this kind of rather embarrassing situation for the party? Is there some kind of way to carry everybody along?
Well, honestly, Tudun, there is no upset in whatever form within the party. I want you to take that away from this discussion. Now, I'm talking about expenditure and whether we follow financial regulations or not. If he claims to be a member of the People's Democratic Party and he has a constitution of the party, he should go and study it, he should go and read it. And he will discover his own foolishness. Because it is clear who has powers over expenditure. Even the National Working Committee has no power of its own except as granted by the Constitution. So this clown is just swimming around the ocean and fishing in an ocean of rumor.
All right.
So if there's a crisis, if there's a financial crisis in the People's Democratic Party, it's somebody who we cannot even determine his membership of the party that will come and bring it out. In a party where we have governors, in a party where we have board of trustee members, in a party where we have high-ranking Nigerians.
But real quickly, Kola, can you confirm to us? Kassim Afegbua claimed that he was just suspended for a month. And now that you've been calling people in his ward to resume his suspension, is that the case? And have you been threatening in any way possible?
Well, I don't know. There are rules. There are rules in the party. The party has a functional constitution. And if you commit an infringement within the party is at liberty to take actions against you, provided those actions are within their constitution. So, Rufai, you take somebody who in 2019 election was in the PDP, was in the campaign. Then in the following year, 2020, he was in another party where he also functioned as a publicist for a candidate that's not a member of PDP, but a member of APC. Then suddenly, he disappeared from the radar completely. Then suddenly when he will merge, he merged with a petition to EFCC. Does that construe membership? So if you're a member of an organization, even if it's a social club, all you want to do is to bring down the roof. Because you look for one position and you were not given.
What
then you must collapse the party.
What position was he looking for that he wasn't given?
He knows, ask him now, he's on air.
No,
he knows the position he sought for.
What position was he looking for that he wasn't given?
He's on air now. Let him tell you
Kassim,
what position he looked for.
Kassim, do you want to respond to? Do you want to respond to some of the points raised by Kola Ologbondiyan? He says specifically that you are a rumor monger and a clown. And you had alleged that the party does not have a bank account. Is that true?
Dr. Ruben Abati, thank you very much. When I describe Kola Ologbondiyan as intellectually hollow earlier on, you pick holes in my position, but he has just displayed it. You see, a man who cannot tell you my status in the party since the suspension, the 1 month suspension given to me has expired. He's telling you to ask me that I'm on air. He's telling you that I look for a position and I didn't get it. So because of that, he won't be able to say what position I looked for. Why is it always convenient for people who are intellectually deficient to be able to connect the dots and provide solutions to challenges that are confronting them? I have just told EFCC and ICPC to interrogate the processes of the finances of the PDP. And all I get is name calling, blackmailer, and say all of this. If your hands are clean, why are you panicking? Go to EFCC and ICPC, go and deliver your own message or defense. Volunteer information. I am not doing a media trial. This is not a media trial. But I'm standing by my 10 billion naira accruals from donations, from sale of farms in 2019 elections until now. If you say the NWC, the NEC, the Board of Trustees approve a budget, have you told them how you expended money? If the National Assembly approves appropriation from Mr. President, are you saying because they have approved that people cannot steal the money? I don't understand what kind of reason is this. You see, if the National Executive Committee and the Board of Trustees approve money, show us how you expended X, Y, Z. Period. We are not quarreling over anything. Just come out with clean hands. Let's see how transparent you are, rather than concocting figures and auditor reports and using consultants and bank accounts to run the party's finances. I have given you three different accounts, and EFCC will look into all those accounts. It is pure money laundering, and I will pursue this thing unequivocally to a logical conclusion.
Right. Gentlemen, can I ask you to please restrain yourselves when with the name calling and the mudslinging, and let's stick to the facts. Now, I want to ask you for your response to that statement. I'll start with Mr. Ologbondiyan, and then I have a question for you, Mr. Afegbua. But Mr. Ologbondiyan, kindly respond.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I had stated earlier that the companies named by Kassim Afegbua are ghostly companies. They have no relationship of any sort with the People's Democratic Party. For us as a party, we are not aware even of the existence of those parties. And at the nick of time, where he claims he has taken us to, when we are invited, we will tell the facts, because we don't know anything about these ghostly companies. Then his banding figure of 10 billion naira, where Dr. Ruben Abati had asked him, bring the proof. He said it's in EFCC. But you are the one that took the petition to EFCC. So you think the EFCC will just begin to lock us up, to lock people up without facts? Bring out the facts that you have here. He's not going to bring them out. He said that oh, okay, BOT approve budget, NEC approve budget. We have not declared what we spent. But our accounts have been audited. And the Constitution says that we will audit our account, and the Electoral Act also provides that when we audit this account by external auditors, that we will submit the same to INEC. This has been done. This has been submitted to INEC. So for us in the party, we do not understand where Kassim is coming from. And he's angry that we are saying that he's not a member of the People's Democratic Party. Why should he be angry? Did you not work for APC in the last election in Edo State?
I'm not angry. I am not angry at all. I am not angry. I am not angry.
Why should that be a source of anger to you? Well, Kassim, I didn't engage you when you were talking. So allow me my points. So that is the basic truth. That as far as we are concerned, the party, we don't know the company, your ghostly companies that you are mentioning. We didn't raise 10 billion naira, and we have audited the account of the party and submitted same to INEC as provided for in our Constitution and the Electoral Act 2010 as amended.
Well,
all these issues, we'll take them there.
Mr. Afegbua, I did ask you earlier, I said to you that he who asserts must prove. I want to encourage you once again to lay the facts on the table. The matter is not sub judice. You are allowed to do that. So that's my first question. My second question is, what do you hope to gain from this action? What exactly would be satisfactory for you as a member of PDP?
Thank you very much. I quite buy the point you raised about he who asserts must prove. Unfortunately, I am not doing a media investigation. When we get to the EFCC, they will invite me. They will invite them. There will be tendering documents. I'm not going to be tendering documents here because I'm not engaged in any media trial. Secondly, what I intend to achieve is for people, for leaders of parties to be conscious of their roles as agents of a virile democratic culture. A culture of transparency, accountability, probity, openness in public finances, so that they do not think that the party belongs to them or the resources of the party belong to them. And in the process, prosecute those persons and groups and factors that have been found wanting in the management of the resources of the party. You see, any public institution, when we elect leaders to represent us, charity must naturally begin at home. And you cannot claim to be fighting ruling party APC for their incompetence, for their failures, and all of that, when you are committing the same lethargic offense within your own microscopic platform called a political party. So for me, this will serve as a deterrent. Next time, people will not use consultants' accounts to funnel the party's resources, and we will also be fully abreast of all the transactions with respect to the monies accruing to PDP and the role of each person and each factor in the process of expending such resources.
All right, so
Kola has forgotten that I participated in 2019. I bought a form, 1.5 million as House of Rep member, aspirants. And I paid money to a consultant and they issued me a receipt. He has forgotten. Because they told us and they told me that the party's account was under garnishee order by one particular law firm that I wouldn't want to name here. And he will sit down here and be gallivanting, and be telling me all sorts and calling me all sorts of names, blackmailer, this, that. I won't bother about that. Okay. When we get to EFCC, we'll know how to cross the bridge.
Okay, so Mr. Kola, I've got two questions. I've got a question for you, then I have another one for Kassim Afegbua. Number one will be, Mr. Kola Ologbondiyan, can you confirm to me that all the monies paid by aspirants were paid into the PDP accounts? Because he made a very strong allegation now that when he bought a form, the money was not directly to the PDP account. So can you confirm that the account that was audited, all the aspirants that bought forms or other donations went directly to the central PDP account? And two, a lot of people are asking me that, what was the position that Kassim wanted that wasn't given to him that you made mention of, that you must also tell us so that we can know where all of this is brewing from? But can you confirm to me about that account? And for Mr. Kassim Afegbua, I'd like to ask you, real quickly, can you also, please, I know you don't want to share because you say we'll meet at EFCC office, can you also share some of the money trails you have so that we can, be able to follow it and people can be able to participate and track how the money did go? Because there's also a fair case of reporting when it comes to financial transactions in this country. Mr. Kola, you go first, and afterwards, Mr. Kassim Afegbua goes.
Yeah, thank you very much, Rufai. I can confirm to you that all the monies realized from sale of forms and sales of membership cards were paid directly into the accounts approved by the National Executive Committee of our party. And we act according to the law and the constitution of our party, the People's Democratic Party. That puts that to rest. On the position that I said that Kassim Afegbua looked for, in the campaign or ahead of the governorship election in Edo State, Kassim supported a particular aspirant because he had an agreement with that aspirant that he will run as a deputy governor to that aspirant. Unfortunately, the dynamics of that election pushed the candidature of our party to the sitting governor, who chose to run with his deputy, Philip Shuaibu. And consequent upon that, it was difficult for Mr. Afegbua to achieve his dream of running as a deputy candidate. On account of that, he swerved to the APC. He fought the People's Democratic Party candidate and the PDP. He called the party leaders names. He made allegations against the leadership of the party, which were untrue. And for us in the PDP, our purpose, our drive was how do we win Edo State? And on account of that, we had to fall back on the sitting governor who decamped into our party. So, since that moment, Kassim Afegbua has no relationship with the party. He fought us ferociously in the election. However, our candidate won. But there's one imperative thing I must say here. For the period that Mr. Afegbua spent in APC in his last sojourn, as he wants Nigerians to believe, Adams Oshiomhole had allegation of mismanaging APC resources.
Kola.
Since Kassim is claiming that
Kola Ologbondiyan.
he has a probity cause, why did he not call for the investigation of that?
Well,
why did he not take him
Kola
to the
Ologbondiyan.
FCC? Anyway, Dr. Abati, I will make the
We need to take a short break.
point
We
now.
need to take a short break. Let's go to that commercial break. And when we come back, I see you've put Kassim Afegbua in the dock and he's ready to also respond, but you will have the opportunity to complete your thoughts. We take that short commercial break now and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the morning show here on the Arise News channel. Our two guests are still here with us. Kola Ologbondiyan, National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, and Kassim Afegbua, a former member of the party's Presidential Campaign Council. And we've been talking about Afegbua's allegation that the PDP must account for a missing 10 billion naira. Well, Kola, sorry I interrupted you earlier. We needed to take that commercial break. Okay. The last word I heard from you was about Adams Oshiomhole, and you said you needed to make one more point. So if you could make that point, and then Kassim Afegbua, who I see has been itching to respond to you, can then respond to some of the points you raised. Kola Ologbondiyan.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Abati. What I was saying was that since Mr. Afegbua has taken it upon himself to fight the cause of probity in political parties, the PDP has no problem with that. But the question is this. For the last sojourn that he made in the All Progressives Congress, his leader and boss, Adams Oshiomhole, was accused of mismanaging billions of naira. Why did he not take him, since he was in that party then, why did he not subject his leader and boss to the investigation of EFCC? So that's the point. That's the question I just wanted to ask him. Because he said today that his responsibility now is to ensure that party leaders are probed, that they account for whatever money. Even though our own party, we have accounted for the expenditure that was approved by NEC. Our Constitution and the Electoral Act 2010 as amended demands that we submit audited account to INEC. We have done that.
Well,
So
Kola,
we'll
I have a question for you on that, about audited
but why
accounts.
did he not? Why did he not put Adams Oshiomhole before EFCC? He has allegations.
Okay, I have a question for you on the issue of audited accounts, but let's listen to Kassim Afegbua first. Yes. Kassim, well, we've just been told that you wanted to be deputy governor.
Thank you. You know, the leadership of the party with respect to the Edo election were described as tax collectors by the governor of Rivers State. I'm sure you know why that description fits properly, in line with even the concerns I'm raising about the party finances. You see, even if I have an aspiration, like he claimed, what is wrong in it? It's legitimate under the Constitution of Nigeria. Edo election finished September. Primaries for the Edo election took place in June. So from June till almost a year, now it is now that I am beaten by that aspiration. That is hollow ritual. You see, the point, I'm not going to be distracted from the real issues of asking for accountability. Because even the money that they agree they have gotten into the account, 4.6 billion, accruers, they are supposed to give part of a percentage of that amount to state chapters, asking whether they have given in the last 2-3 years. States where there are no PDP governors, they hardly visit them. They don't know how those states are surviving. Directorates of the party, Directorate of Youth Affairs, Women Affairs, Mobilization, Publicity, and all of that. There are monies that were budgeted for them, asking whether the money got to the persons involved. So it is easier for you to come on TV and be grandstanding. We are going to be speaking to the specifics when we get to EFCC, when the investigation commences. Because don't forget that we have over 2,000 members of House of Assembly in the country. People who ran for election. We have 360 positions for House of Reps and over 800 aspirants. We have people who ran for Senate, who ran for presidency, and all of that. Even now, as we speak, Anambra election, we've realized over 300 million from sale of nomination forms, 26 million, 21 million to the federal, 5 million to the states. Put together, it's over 300 million. 13 aspirants, there are 16 altogether, but 3 are females, 13 are males. So 3 females are given free of charge. But the 13 pay 26 million each. So it is not that these monies, we can trace them. There are donations to the party aside from sales of form. We are going to look into all of that. I'm not even coming to that yet. So the point is, they should know that where there is a gathering of 1 or 2 persons, information you try to conscript or to hide will certainly leak out. And these account numbers that I told you of, Morufu Nigeria Limited, Retrobox Nigeria Limited, Abdullah Umaru, I have the account numbers. We will trace the money that got into these accounts. I will know the role that they played. You know, these are the same people in their meeting yesterday. They were trying to send emissaries to me to plead with me that I should please, drop these charges. Somebody called me and said, it is not a personal fight. It's a fight of probity, accountability, and transparency. And PDP is not playing its role as virile, viable, credible opposition. What is the position of PDP on the 2021 budget? What is our position on insecurity? What is our position on restructuring? It is not enough for you to call yourself a opposition party. What are your blueprints if you are given opportunity to preside over the country today? What will be your blueprints? They don't have it. Seminars are not conducted. Workshops are not organized. Expert opinions are not sought. And you sit down there, you issue empty, dry-headed statements in the name of a publicity secretary. Bullshit.
Language?
Well, mind your language. Let's be careful, gentlemen. But quickly, Kola Ologbondiyan, the question I was going to ask you. You've talked about audited accounts of the PDP about 3 times this morning. And you recall that after the 2019 general elections, INEC came forward to remind all the political parties of Section 92, subsection 3A of the Electoral Act, which requires political parties to submit audited accounts within 6 months after the election. The same is further stated in Section 93 of that Electoral Act. And you said, PDP has audited its accounts and you've submitted the accounts. When did the PDP submit its audited accounts to the Electoral Commission, and is it available? And I asked that question because there was an investigative report by one of our colleagues, Taiwo Amodu, in the Nigerian Tribune just a few weeks ago, reporting that both the APC and the PDP, the 2 leading political parties, have not submitted their audited accounts to INEC. Could you give us more information in that regard? Well, please look straight into the camera and tell Nigerians. Yeah.
That cannot be 2019 audited accounts. And you must understand that audited accounts are submitted after the year. So, like as we speak now, what INEC could be expecting will be 2020 audited account. It can never be 2019 audited account that Taiwo Amodu will say it was not submitted. He might be talking about the year 2020 audited account. And on that one,
It was
I will find
specific.
out when I get
It was
to the office of the
specific about
auditor.
after the
And,
elections.
No, it cannot be. It cannot be. You see, Dr. Abati, even this same matter was still discussed in the National Working Committee meeting yesterday. And it was clear and abundantly clear that 2019 audited account had been submitted. So maybe the scope of reference will be 2020. Because I do not believe that the national auditor of the party will sit down before the leadership of the party and tell a lie. I don't want to believe that. And also, you know, when you audit your account internally, you also bring in an external auditor. It is the report that it is the report submitted by the external auditor that you take to INEC. And we have done that, to the best of my understanding, based on the explanation given by the national auditor, May Adamu, yesterday. But outside that, please, I want to quickly respond to some of the issues that Kassim raised. He raised this issue of state chapters being owed. He should name those chapters, because I am not aware that state chapters are being owed. He also said that the directorate of the party were budgeted for, and that the people that the money was meant for never got to them. But there has never been a protest in the National Secretariat in respect of that. Because I know that if you deprive members of their entitlement, they will protest it. So we haven't witnessed that. He's also talking about miseries. Anybody can sit down on the television and begin to lie to Nigerians, particularly people who are known and seen as blackmailers. So they can go anywhere and raise issues that doesn't exist. As far as we are concerned, the issue of 4.6 billion has been in public space since 2019 election. It was taken to NEC, it was taken to Governor's Forum. Decisions were reached on how to spend this money. Budgets were presented and approval were sought and received. So all this shadow chasing, all this fishing in the ocean of rumors, it won't distract the People's Democratic Party in any way. We understand the role that Mr. Kassim is playing, but we want to assure him that the national leadership of the People's Democratic Party cannot be distracted by an inconsequential blackmailer. It's not possible.
Right. Well, you mentioned the former national chairman of the APC, Mr. Ologbondiyan, and in his case, there was no petition to the EFCC or IPC. I'm sure he wishes that was where it started and ended. In his case, it was Oshiomhole must go, and he did go. He went. So my question for you, because you raised him, is that are you not playing into the hands of those who see APC as 6 and PDP as half a dozen by raising the fact that a similar situation allegedly happened in that party, like you just said? How are you distinguishing yourselves as PDP from APC, which also goes back to the point raised by Mr. Afegbua about the lapses he feels that the PDP has shown in being a credible opposition? Very briefly, we only have a minute to go, I'm afraid.
Thank you very much, Tundu. Thank you very much. Even from their formation, the People's Democratic Party and APC are two different entities. PDP came into existence because the founders of our party confronted the military and chased them to the barracks. APC came into existence because some angry and hungry people bonded together and said that they must take possession of power, even when they had no plans on what to do with it. That is the foundation. Now, going into the issue of probity, we established ICPC, our government established EFCC, and as a party, under the current leadership, we have carried out our activities in conformity with the laws of our party and with the position of the Electoral Act 2010 as amended. So for us, in the leadership of this party today, we have conducted our affairs transparently, credibly, and our members are also aware of that. It is unfortunate that you have a jumper between parties who will now come around from nowhere and now claim that, oh, there's this crisis. You call the chairman of the Governors Forum. Now, you are a reporter. Bring the chairman of the Governors Forum, Governor Aminu Tambuwa, on this platform to come and talk about it. Bring out the BOT chairman to come and talk about the Senator Wali Jubin to come and talk about this. We are not doing anything in hiding. We are not a hideous group of people.
Okay, Kola Ologbondiyan, we need to go now. Thank you so much for your time. I'd like to say thank you too to Kassim Afegbua for being here. Kassim, no time. I have to go now. No time.
I have to react.
Apologies. I'd like to say thank you so much for your time.